Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Magic the Gathering Arena, and a Merry Christmas to you all. And today we are playing a deck for Explorer that I'm liking to call Santa Claus, because we gift our opponents a swift death, and we are a red-white deck. So, yeah, this is a build of Boros Heroic. For those of you not familiar with the deck, it's pretty straightforward. You should be able to figure out what we're trying to do quite quickly when we get into the games, and we're going to see if we can win some games in Explorer right now. There are some very powerful decks in the format at the moment, so I'm not expecting a ton out of this, particularly because some of those decks have very powerful things to use against us. But it felt sort of in the spirit of things. I would have gone for a little bit of a different build, a little bit of a different deck, but unfortunately I'm not spending 4 rare wild cards on Harmless Offering. That's not happening. That is a fun and interesting time if you have the card or you have the wherewithal to play something that's a little less, well, that's much less competitive. It can be a good time to play Bad Santa for a little bit and hand out some of your permanents with that card. But on the play, this is very nice. I think I'm going to start off, and I could have played my lands differently here, but we're not a deck where our life total is particularly important. That's annoying. Let's run out this Swift Spear. Let's get to combat. Smash in. They shouldn't block. Oh, that's a sorcery. I have not played this deck very much. Okay, well, here we're going to go and lead off on this Ancestral Anger. And then we're going to go Inspiring Vantage, and this is a wonderful pull for us. So we're going to target the Old Growth Troll and our favorite Hoplite with this Reckless Rage, which will trigger the favorite Hoplite. I don't know why this is triggering twice. It's not. Okay, that was a replacement effect. Oh, okay, yeah. Yep, that was actually... So, unfortunately, the way the certain effects are written on cards, that was the damage prevention replacement effect created by the favorite Hoplite trigger. But it doesn't really state what the replacement effect alone is doing, but rather the whole trigger, right? It puts the text of the whole trigger on screen. So, this is very unfortunate. We have flooded pretty badly here. We're just going to get in for 4. Choose green. Smack them. They can chump with an elf, but... yeah. We've flooded quite badly here, and we are actually quite low on lands. I think we're 21. If this goes poorly for them, we could still come out of this okay. That did not go poorly for them. Because they can pop off here and...
The land shall conquer you. Nature flows with vigor.
My grief fuels my mission.
Yeah, so this is one of the core decks in the format at the moment. Mono Green Devotion. Really powerful deck. Probably in need of a ban or something. I mean, because here they're going to be able to play this God Pharaoh statue and then maybe this other card in their hand as well, right? And I really need a protection spell. To put this favorite hoplite through. A protection spell and another spell. Nope, we didn't draw either of them. So, that is the game, because we drew way too many lands there. That was a huge flood. Now, against this sort of a deck, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut the Monastery Swift Spears. We're going to try and use Brave the Elements to sort of cut through the blockers that they might have. And then on top of that, I'm thinking about bringing in Strangle, but I think we should be okay. Ryle can serve dual purpose as, like... Oh, no, never mind. What am I thinking of? There's another card. Not in the format. But yeah, so this is the swap that I think we're going to go for. I don't think we need God's Willing in, actually. But Monastery Swift Spear not getting hit by Brave the Elements means that we really aren't looking to run that. We'll bring in a Fateful Absence. Actually, we'll go 2 Strangles, 2 Fateful Absence, because they are a Planeswalker-focused deck. That said, we don't really... Like, if they resolve one of their Planeswalkers, we're in for a rough time, right? The only one that we can really handle them playing at all is Kiora. And this is a slow draw for us, but it is a handful of stuff, right? So here the idea becomes, can we get there fast enough? So I'm going to go with this Illuminator Virtuoso here. Again, this is a little bit of a slow play, but they are in a problem position because that's another Elvish Mystic. Cool. All right. So we're going to start off on this Defiant Strike. See if we can draw a land. We did not draw a land. We're going to pitch this 10th District Legionnaire. Actually, no. We're going to pitch the Fateful Absence here. We're going to go Ancestral Anger. And unfortunately, we did not draw an untapped land. I am light on... So this is 10 damage. We could have kept the Legionnaire, actually. That's 10 damage with Trample. The hope here is that they cannot just pop off because their draw is a little slow. And they did just tap out to play that Old Growth Troll, which probably won't save them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open on Ryle. And actually, it's guaranteed not to save them because of Brave the Elements. We'll pitch... yeah, we'll pitch the 10th District. And then we go Brave the Elements, choose green, and they die. Now there was potentially like a question of do we show them Brave the Elements there? We probably shouldn't have. Because we could have killed them. Because we had 14 damage, we could have just swung in and killed them. Because they only had colorless mana available. Because despite Nykthos looking very green when played, I think that's a decision that, I mean, I don't particularly care for. I think that making the decision to make Nykthos change colors based on the colors you have devotion for.
Bet you've never been hugged by a kraken before. One drop ripples and grows.
Okay. Den of the Bugbear. We would love to target our own stuff. Gonna go Favorite Hoplite. Gonna go Defiant Strike on the Favorite Hoplite. Draw here, and then... yeah, we can still target our own stuff. The question is whether or not we can let them untap with 5 mana next turn, and I think the answer is no. I think we are... Actually, it would be 6. Right? Because Kiora is a problem. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to ping off this Llanowar Elf. And smack them in the face. They still could have up to 5 mana here. Oh, well, more. No, that would be tough for them to have more than 5 here. Just because the way their devotion is set up.
I love to make a splash.
An Elder Gargaroth. Okay, well, here we have a Plains. So if we Angel Fire Ignition on our favorite Hoplite, it goes to a 5/6, which unfortunately is not enough. So what we're going to do is we are going to Rile it. We're going to pop the Gargaroth. They can have a clue, but not a Gargaroth. We're going to hit them in the face. Again, we could have killed Kiora if we had done this, if we had attacked Kiora instead of their face last turn. But I think this was still correct. There's also the possibility that we could have held up protection for this Hoplite, because it is our only threat at this point. That's just a Topiary Stomper, though. In general, they are pretty linear, though, right? Not a lot of interaction. Next turn is going to be a very problematic turn for us. So what we're going to do... I think is, thankfully we drew this Fateful Absence, so we are going to kill the Kiora with a Fateful Absence.
Go for a swim and cool off.
We are going to Reckless Rage, targeting their Topiary Stomper, because that is the greatest devotion that they have. Now they can chump with the Elf, but they need mana here. This is 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they have 6 mana, which is 1. The question here is, do we play the Sejiri Shelter as a land so we can fire off multiple more spells next turn, or just hold it in hand? Our opponent is very tilted, based on the fact that they are emote spamming, which is nice for us. I think we're gonna hold Sejiri Shelter. No, I'm going to play it because that gives us Angel Fire Ignition plus Brave the Elements next turn. I have decisions to make, sir. Ah, Cavalier of Thorns. Sure. Ooh, okay. Now they have options here. And they are going to just crack that. So, let's see. If we Ancestral Anger... Ignition... That's +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. That's a 9. So it's not lethal. We could draw... Well, that was not what I was thinking of, but that is useful, because that means that we can do... Oh, that was a mistake, wasn't it? Because they've got 4, 5, 6, 7. And they're going to get back Ugin. Now the problem with Ugin for them...
Strive for balance in all things. All creation can be undone.
is that it cannot kill our land. Our land is unfortunately not white.
My flames burn beyond perception.
Okay, and Illuminator Virtuoso is actually ideal here. Well, not exactly. The problem is Angel Fire Ignition from the graveyard is 4. Which, yes, we can make this quite large. Reckless Rage is not useful. I'm going to take 2. Our Virtuoso does stay in play. And we know what they're drawing here, so they're going to throw... What, Storm the Festival on top? Or, no, Gargaroth. Okay. Because Gargaroth can block and gain them 3. They Ugin -2, Gargaroth, and they get the clue draw.
I hope you don't mind if I take my octopus. Let's get moving.
And we only have the 1 Spike Field Hazard, so that is not on the table. And that's definitely not it. So, that is game. It's going to take them a while to kill us, but this is going to start gaining them life. We're just going to start losing very, very slowly. So, yeah, this is not... So I made an error in that game, and did not use the Brave the Elements to dodge the block by the Cavalier, which let them rebuy Ugin, right? So if I hadn't made that misplay, we would have won that game. But it was just my bad for not remembering that they had Ugin in the graveyard and had the mana to play it, because that deck is silly amounts of mana. Swift Spear. This is a... okay. It's a little unfortunate. They're going to take Ancestral Anger, most likely. No? Just take that. That's interesting. I'm just going to play a favorite Hoplite and smack them. So we are on Heroic. They know this. Oh, they have another Thoughtseize. Okay, that's unfortunate. They are on Rat, which is interesting. So, Ancestral Anger here. Abzan Rat. We're going to play white. We're going to play a favorite Hoplite here. And the turn. I mean, they could just be a generic Abzan mid-range deck as well, but what they've taken has been... indicating to me that they are on Greasefang. Yeah, they're a Greasefang deck. Well, Reckless Rage doesn't do anything, so we just have to get in. And I'm not going to spend this God's Willing on nothing, right? That's a heck of a graveyard, just to be clear. But this is... so they would have to have double removal spell. These Witherbloom commands have been really bad for them. I mean, it's... Witherbloom command is actually a card that is really... can't stay away. Well, that's very unfortunate that they're using that. For them, that is, right? This is a very bad mill. Very bad set of mills for them. I'm going to use my red source here. I'm going to target that, target this, because they are tapped out to get the counter. Basically, the way that we had to play our lands to keep this God's Willing up, I wanted to just use the red source on the end step. It would have been 1 additional damage there, which might have mattered. And is sandbagging this land worth it? Probably not. We would probably prefer a second red source next turn in case we like go runner red spell. That's a Chariot. The fact that they haven't scooped leads me to believe that they have Fatal Push, which means that we do need a way to get past these things that isn't you know, 4 attacks. So we don't need to protect from right on anything. We're gonna have to use God's Willing here, but we're not going to win here. But we are going to, God's willing... Actually, let's not give them the stifle on our stuff. Let's go here. Because we're not going to be able... They're going to be able to respond to this with whatever they do. Oh. No, that was stupid. We had to do it on the... They conceded anyway, but we had to do it on our favorite hoplite to get the counter to make it happen. So, against Greasefang, we bring in Rest in Peace, we bring in Ley Lines. God's Willing is great. Reckless Rage is not, like, super important. And Ryle's not super important, right? We probably should have just done it pre-combat. No. No, there just wasn't a way to make that happen. Against Rat. Trying to figure out what to cut. It's probably the Ignitions because we brought in Rips. And then God's Willing stays in Rage is pretty good against them. Ryle is fine. I think Ryle. But then again, like being a cantrip, let's go 2 Swift Spear, 2 Ryle down. And see how that goes. Yeah, okay, cool. Swift Spear. Get in there. There's the push, because they know we have protection spells. We're just going to main phase it. We are going to shock in this Sacred Foundry, run out the Tetris Legionnaire, and if they've got another removal spell here, we just lose, but that's the case anyway. Cool, they've got a second push. We will stick it out to see if we draw another other creature, but we haven't drawn one yet, so that's does not bode well. And we flooded as well. There's not really a reason to play this ley line or not play the ley line, other than like just keeping our mana open. Well, there's the Parhelion. That's quite bad for us. If they have a land, Greasefang, untapped land, that is. The Blooming Marsh is not untapped, so we have a turn here. I did forget about this exact scenario. And we are just going to pass here. -3, -1, sure. Alright, 10th District Legionnaire is coming out. We're going to go to combat. We're going to attack them with just the Virtuoso. The problem is we don't have any spells that we really can spend here. We have to hold... this Reckless Rage for their Grease Fang. Okay, here we can rile you. Pitch Layla. Alright. And we have a spare Reckless Rage at this point, so we can do this. But we have to hold these spells in reserve because of our mana situation. That's just a Parhelion. And they, yeah. So they didn't find Rat. They didn't find their Rat. So their deck didn't do anything. I mean, that's kind of the way that goes. One more time. The one matchup that I'm really worried about for this deck is the mono-red matchup, okay? Because that is another deck that is quite strong. It's very much a similar strategy to ours, but a little bit different. Not as focused on targeting spells on our own creatures, on its own creatures, more focused on targeting spells on its opponent's face. We're going to open on Den. Swift Spear. There are... that being an instant doesn't really matter. Uh-oh. It's a little bit of a flood. Just a little bit of a flood. Paradise Druid. So this is elementals. This is, yeah, this is unfortunate. We're just gonna have to pass here. Reef. We're gonna go to my turn. I don't need to spend this mana here, so we're gonna go Monastery Swift Spear. We are going to spike this Reef. We're going to get in. We are going to play the tapped Den of the Bugbear, because that leaves us the untapped Ejana. On our next turn, Escape to the Wilds. Okay, that's rough. It's actually a pretty nice flip for us, because it showed they didn't show anything dangerous. here. Cobra. That resolves. Again, we have plenty of mana. Hold on, but this is 4, 5, 6 next turn. I am gonna Reckless Rage now. Hit that and this. Prowess trigger, so it survives. So we can try to run a runner and flip into more damage than just firing up the den, but I think we just fire up the den and all in them. Put them to 3. And see how much damage they can do this turn, right? That's a Shia, that's fine. Not great, but fine. We killed their other Lotus Cobra, so it's not going to go totally nuts on us. Okay, I lied. They have another fetch land, which means it is going to go totally nuts on us. Okay, so this is a land. Reckless Rage takes down Omnath. And then we fire up Den, swing. They block. They take 2 because they block the Swift Spear and the Den. Or we can try and spin to win. 2 take them to 1, we lose the Den, they lose the Cobra, we lose the Swift Spear. We have 2 goblins next turn. Oh, it's probably better to just fire this up. Oh no, we have the other Den, so yeah, this is definitely better. This is definitely the better line. It's very close, and we would not have gotten it last turn, so that's good to know. So we have 4 attackers to their 4 blockers. We would lose everything. They would be left with an Ashaya. Because they block, 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 block. The Ashaya gets shrunk by 3, so it goes to 9. It's a 2-tap anyway. The alternative is like waiting with a Ryle in hand. Unfortunately, we are out of Den of the Bugbears because having lands that enter untapped as our third, or enter tapped as our 3rd land is just really unfortunate. So this is a 2-tap. Basically, they're hoping we do not draw a haster here, and we did not. We're going to have to fire this off on a Shaya. Try and draw into a hasty threat. And we did! That's just me showing the hand, showing that, like, Ryle is in there. Alright. They are elementals. We did see the colors to cast the broken Omnath, and we saw the not so broken Omnath, but we didn't see the broken Omnath. So it may mean that they're running light on that. It may also mean that they just had a poor draw. They're running a lot of fetches, so it's very likely they do have it. That said, everything we saw out of them is green, so Brave the Elements is a possibility here to just get past all the flack that they're putting in front of us. I think I will take out the Swift Spears. I know, like, the haste just got us there on that one, but I think we'll put in Brave the Elements here. Ignition's very nice. Other than that, could bring in, like, Strangle, but Strangle's not likely to do anything. This is a matchup where I might want that card that does, like, 1 damage to everything, but we don't have it, so we're not bringing it in. And I don't think this matchup is common enough that we would want to spend a sideboard slot on it. I think that's all that we're going to change. We could look at, like, Fateful Absence, because their creatures can get very, very large, but I think we're okay with what we've got. We could also look at Strangle to have more removal, but I think we're okay. I think this is fine. So our lands here are a little unfortunate, but the rest of it is fine. And actually we drew the second white source, so that's quite good. Yeah, and this is very nice for us as well, having to play the second. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna just... again, they are also, like, kind of a linear-ish deck. They could bring in removal there, but we could have cut, like, God's Willing, now that I'm thinking about it. But our protection is more to get an attack in against this deck than it is to actually protect our creatures from removal spells, so yeah. Oh, never mind. Okay. They brought in, like, a braid. That's fine. That's fine. Alright. This is why we have a backup. So we're going to open on Defiant Strike here. They did just set us back. But we're just going to get in there and pass the turn. Tough draw that we have pulled a bunch of... I'm going to play a second red source here. We're going to Ryle. They could abrade. And I can God's Willing. And I don't have to pick red here. It's actually interesting because... And prevent all damage that would be dealt to it this turn. Yeah, we're going to choose... green. Scry that to the bottom. There's a number of reasons, actually, but... Oh... Lands! Lands! We're just going to fire off Brave the Elements and go pro-green and smack them. Play this dual land tapped and pass the turn. Baloth. That's a good card against us. Life gain is a pain in the butt. 10th District Legionnaire. Brave green. Smack him. And unfortunately, we are super flooded. We are going to hold on to this Needle Verge pathway. It's unlikely to matter, but on the battlefield, it's equally as unlikely to matter. That is an Omnath. What is the trigger? First trigger is gain 4. So we could still win next turn, even if they play a land here. Yep, we're good. This is the game. I mean, we can play this on whatever. This is just going ham on it, so saying, hey, look at me. We went super runner. GG. And we smacked him. And as I said, we have given everyone the glorious gift today of quick losses, quick games. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was actually quite a bit of fun. And it's also an illustration of that's a deck that is still viable, in spite of sort of the powerhouses of the metagame right now being Green Devotion, Mono Red, these really powerful decks. It can stand up, it can hold its own. So, yeah, so just a little bit of fun. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.